Yeah, Clarko gave me the news today, debuting.
Congratulations.
Crazy, how you going?
Good, mate. Good.
Clarko gave me the news I'm debuting this weekend. Yeah, Clarko gave me the news debuting this week.
Exactly right. All the kids are debuting, and Mick Ablett would know this. He's the AFL talent expert, and you can see see him on Fox Footy when they lead up to the draft and on draft night as well. What did you make of last night with the four boys? Armstrong, Lawler, Trainer, and Campriali. Good morning.
Loved it. Morning, boys. Great to be back, and great to have the footy back proper instead of that stuff that got trotted out a week ago. But
thanks for the magnificent Macca's hot chocolate too.
Always welcome, boys.
Good.
Always. Look, I thought it was brilliant. I love this time of year. I love seeing the new talent come in and perform. And, you know, when you hear the commentators and the public getting excited about players such as, you know, Sam Lawler, Luke Trainer, Lucas Camparelli, geez, he started like an absolute house on fire last night. And
Sort of summed up Carlton
right
a bit, though, didn't he? His second half he went MIA, but that's no shock for a boy making his debut. And they got him in the pick 50s, didn't they? So
yeah, he was late, and so was Ben. So his brother. So they were a great get, but he looked right at home. But I thought Sam Lawler, he was outstanding. For me, it was the composure, the vision, his ability to use his hands and put other players into space, I thought was just incredible.
And there was zero fear from a young man playing his first game who had his jaw broken 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was also, too, I thought that there was no hoopla around him. There was no carry-on.
What was that?
Fractured jaw.
Oh, same.
Anyway.
He's still through a straw.
No, I just thought there was no carry-on. He was super humble. He was modest. He just went about his business, and I found it really refreshing to see a number one draft pick with that level of humility.
If you've got a question for Mick about any of the debutantes, give us a call, 0487 736 736, text or 13 12 55.
Say it properly, for any of the debuting players.
Yeah, anyone who's out there debuting, get in touch with us. Hey,
I'm debuting this weekend.
Still can't get over that. This has just come through courtesy of Kate Massey, her Perth girl who resides in Melbourne and works for Seven. 5 debutantes confirmed for Melbourne this week, confirmed this morning. Harvey Langford, Xavier Lindsay, Aidan Johnson, Jack Henderson, of course, who came across to West Coast, and Matt Jefferson. Thoughts on that? They're taking on the Giants. That's big for Melbourne because they still think they're in the window, yet they're rolling out 5 new names.
I like what they do, though, Melbourne. They go hard every year at the draft, and they'll continue to trade back. But if they've got a philosophy, and it's pretty clear that they're going to get 2 players in the first round, which they've done over the last few drafts, and the likes of Harvey Langford and Xavier Lindsay. I mean, Harvey Langford, there's a lot of talk on him that he could be a real bolter for the Rising Star Award this year.
A couple of people have nominated him in our SEN predictions. I think Harvey Langford's got a run there.
Yeah, well, he's a good size too. So he's a boy of about 190 centimetres, and he's solid enough. He plays inside, outside. So I really like what Melbourne do here. I don't necessarily agree that they're in the window. I know they probably think there's still somewhat of a chance, but to be able to bring these young players in now, that's what the likes of Geelong, Sydney and those sorts of teams have done over modern times, which has allowed them to continue to play finals year in, year out.
Well, we're on that game, so if they all play, they're making their debuts. But let's take a look at GWS as well. They've lost Briggs. Tom Green comes back in. They've named Hannaford and Angove. We know Angove. Well, Angove we sat through this draft. Angove was the absolute left field pick that no one at Claremont thought he would go that early, and he went in the 20s, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, he was, from memory, he was first round for sure, and great CT. GWS, they are a genuine contender, so to get a kid like Cody Angove in who they rate as highly, I think Darcy Jones, they picked him a lot earlier than what a lot of people had him on draft boards.
A lot of people had him. Does he not get drafted just because of his size?
Yeah, so Jason McCartney's a very, very good operator there, and Adrian Caruso, he's offsider. So, again, they roll these young kids through, they get them in early, get them a taste of AFL footy, and generally holds them in pretty good stead going forward.
One of the ones that I predicted him for Rising Star is Isaac Kako. He was extremely exciting in his pre-season match. He'll get a run and he'll be a cult figure pretty much quickly, but good season in him.
Yeah, I think I upset just about every Essendon supporter in the country at draft night. And it wasn't a reflection on Isaac Kako and his talent. I think he's an outstanding player. He's what they've missed for a long, long time in terms of that elusive small forward. He went on to kick 4 against Geelong, could have had 5. Wasn't for someone pinching one on the line. But, look, he has proven that he belonged in the first round of the draft. I think he's an outstanding talent. And, look, ultimately it was just disappointing they didn't get another one through the door.
Why did you upset Bombers fans?
Well, my mail was, and there was a lot that went around that my view was that Isaac Kako wasn't going to get bid on prior to pick 9, I think Essendon had. So the mistake Essendon made was they declared their hand very, very early that they were going to nominate Isaac Kako. Now, when you do that, clubs go, right, now we're going to play with them, we'll get them to pay the ultimate price. So you had Melbourne come in and say, we're going to bid on him before pick 9. I know St Kilda did. And I know Richmond did. Now, I spoke to all 3 of those clubs and they were adamant that they weren't going to bid on Isaac Kako, and all they were trying to do was force Essendon's hand, get him to cough up. Now, what I would have done is declared my hand later, and I also would have had a deal in place on draft night to trade that pick out if the mail was strong that he was going to get a bid, so that you actually save that pick 9, let another club bid on him, pay with your points, and then trade back in. Or the club holds firm and goes, you know what, if you are going to bid on him, be prepared to take him, because we don't think he's a pick 9. He might be a pick 15. So you stand your ground and you call their bluff. But I just thought they had an opportunity to get 2 first-rounders through the door rather than 1.
Mick Ablett, the AFL talent scout, is expert thanks to Toolkit. Depot's auto sale is on now. We're drilling down the new names. Murphy Reid rang his mum and dad yesterday.
Telling you I'm playing this week.
Yay! Well up, man.
Calling to tell you that I'm playing this week.
Nice for it, mate.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot going into it, so ecstatic. Don't really have much words, but yeah, it's a pretty weird feeling, but yeah, it's obviously a dream come true. So just got told I can have at least 20 tickets, so yeah, we'll have a big crew. Yeah.
So good. We might have to get a minibus.
No, I don't think so.
So good.
Yeah, no.
But in kudos to them. What a club.
Yeah, I know. It's taken me under straight away.
So good.
Yeah, unbelievable.
To back you in and look after you like they've got.
Yeah, it's been
As I
awesome.
said to you, Mum and I could be happier. So, it's just incredible for you, mate. I just can't believe it. For what you've been through, what you've strived to do. You said you'd do it. So good.
Thanks, mate.
So good for you.
I just called Dad and he started crying.
Oh, it means a lot. We're so proud of you.
I know, thank you. Love all your support. Very grateful.
Yeah, I'd be a blubbering mess.
Yeah. Dad knew he was being recorded. Wow, great club. You've been so good
What
here.
a club,
There's another 0 on the end of the next contract because Dad's happy.
And maybe some flights for Mum and Dad.
And Daryl wants to know on the text line, Mick, how do you think Murphy Reid will go?
Love this. He deserves his spot. I watched him against the Indigenous All-Stars live out here at Optus Stadium a few weeks back, and I loved everything I saw. He's another one that's just got unbelievable composure. And he's almost like a Pendlebury in terms of the game slows down when the ball's in his hands. He's just got
Poise.
that much, poise, class, time, sums up situations very, very well. I think we said on draft night he had one of the best football brains in the draft. And that's showing out now. So I think he'll add a lot to this Freo side.
Let's continue to look at some of the new names. Interesting, and let's just in passing, Joel Hamling-Pate makes his debut for Sydney after leaving.
Wow.
Yeah, well, they need him down back.
I'll tell you how, boys. The year he got drafted, Subi played Peel in a game. We must have kicked it down his throat 85 times that day. He was the intercept king and then got another go at the end of the year.
He certainly did. Hey, Riley Bice is
Don't you,
one that
Subi.
Sydney have named, whether if he plays, he debuts. And Levi Ashcroft, now we haven't heard, of course, Chris Fagan has declared he will start as the sub, and there's an amazing amount of young people have started as like a stunning number. He could play 5 minutes, he could play 2 hours. Levi Ashcroft, was he the best?
Absolutely. Hands down. And that's the frightening part when you look at...
Is he better than Harley Reid?
He's a different player. I always said Levi Ashcroft was a lot like Lachie Neale. he's that accumulator that just continues to get possession after possession, uses it very, very well and gets in smart spots where he can hurt opposition teams. So he's not that big ball, that big insider. He's a class on the outside, Levi Ashcroft.
One guy that was super impressive in the pre-season was Sam Davidson at the Doggies, and he gets his chance. He looks ready to go. He was terrific. Where they played? They played in Ballarat or somewhere, or wherever they played. He had a beauty.
Yeah, he did. I actually watched that game. I can't remember the venue, Scotty, but he came out of the Richmond VFL program. They've produced so many players over the last few years, and he's come in and had an immediate impact. So, another great example, and he reminded me a little bit of Ryan Marrick when I saw him play.
He's
for
22,
Richmond.
23 or something.
Yeah, so he's another one of those mature ages that's come through the pathway, missed out, hung around at VFL level, plied his trade and get another opportunity.
Josh Dolan is another one. What can you tell me about Josh Dolan?
I don't know a great deal about Josh, to be honest, Goss.
Yeah, well, he's been named. I don't know much about him either. But let's go.
Hugh Boxall, the Claremont boy?
He's the one. He's the one, Scotty. I'm glad you brought him up.
Can we just finish with the North Melbourne one first? Finn O'Sullivan, who we've mentioned, and Jacob Costanti. Now, he's the boy that couldn't get a game at the Sydney Swans.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a good runner, beautiful user of the footy, and just struggled to break in to that Sydney Swans outfit. But look, he'll get his opportunity, and it's great at North Melbourne. Finn O'Sullivan's the one for mine. If anyone's going to knock Levi Ashcroft off from a Rising Star Award, it'll be Finn O'Sullivan.
Oh, we can't wait for him. We can't wait for his speech.
It was so good. It was so good to debut.
I gave you the news.
Right, Blakes, we've heard it. Give me some Hugh Boxall stuff, the boy from Claremont.
Yeah, well, the great Trevor Woodhouse, who's been at the West Coast Eagles for a long, long time, he was huge on this. I had a chat with Trev mid-year last year. He said, keep an eye on this kid. You won't hear much about him, but he's going to be a very, very good player. And, as it turns out, he had 15 and kicked 2 versus Port. I've seen him come off half back. He's got electric leg speed, ability to carry lines, but he's obviously gone forward and been able to provide a bit of zip and show that he can hit the scoreboard up forward for the Saints.
At the moment, the Saints, of course, we haven't got confirmation they're playing Adelaide on Sunday, so they've got Keeler, Boyd, Boxall, Hall, O'Connell, and on the flip side, Adelaide have got Toby Murray and one a lot of people are looking forward to playing in Sid Draper.
Yeah, Isaac Keeler, he's been around for a year or two now. Just keep an eye on him. He reminded me when he came through of Paddy Ryder. So he's a super mobile kid that gets around the ground very, very well, really athletic. Just had to learn a bit about the game. So he's one to keep an eye on for the Saints. And you mentioned Sid Draper, Goss. If the Adelaide Crows are going to go forward this year and do what many of us think they can, I think this young fella will have a big part to play.
Now, last year you blew up the world. This time last year you blew up the world with your predictions on or your concerns about how many WA players could be drafted at the end of the season. A lot of them did, and we spoke about it since then too. Obviously, a lot of them developed and came along in leaps and bounds. How many do you see this season?
Yeah, and I stood firm with that at the time. That was the industry outlook was that there was one player, and that was Bo Allen. And well done to WA footy. I said that multiple times after the draft in Melbourne, and I'll say it again here. It was a very, very good effort. They've still got to hit that 20% mark. That should be their target. Don't worry about what Victoria are doing and everybody else. Hit your 20% at the national draft because that's what WA should be targeting. But this year's group looks very, very good. Young Indigenous boy Wes Wally, who we've had plenty of Daniel Gorringe enjoyed that and got him out there. But
wants him playing for Sydney.
He's super talented. He's a lovely young kid, very, very talented. He played in a intra-club game for Subi last week, and he is pure class. He'll play around the forward line. Looks a very good type. Kobe Evans is another Indigenous boy out of Perth who's got speed to boot, a West Coast NGA player. And a couple of others, Cody Curtin, brother of Dan Curtin. Another
big boy.
Another monster, absolutely.
How much league games, much league footy will he play, do you think, this year?
Well, I mean, Claremont are a great outfit. Ash Prescott and Darcy Coffey don't hesitate to play the kids if they're ready in the league team. So I think around state commitments and those sorts of things, probably, we see him early in the year and then generally you get a glimpse of him a little bit later. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him play. Fred Rodriguez is a name that got bandied around a little bit late last year. He's a boy out of South Freo, 184 centimetres. Played all 4 games in the under-18 champs last year and averaged 19 disposals. So he's one for the Freo fans. Toby Fan is a Freo NGA. He's a mid at 184 that can play inside and outside, so keep an eye on him. And obviously, we all love these. Father-son Charlie Banfield, the son of Drew. He kicked 3 and had 14 disposals in an AFL Futures game on grand final day last year, which is a pretty good indicator of what's to come in the 2025 draft.
Just let's touch on one more before we're looking forward to those young boys coming through our waffle ranks and seeing how many get drafted. West Coast Eagles announced yesterday that Archer Reid was playing his first game, which was exciting. Just give us your vibe on Archer Reid.
I got a good look at him last year in a waffle game up close. He's a big boy. Now, he can play either end of the ground, so I'm interested to see where West Coast go with him. I think if Rhett Bazzo can't get back and play some consistent footy, they might not have a choice. He might have to play that centre-half back role. Outside of that, if they can get some stability down back and they throw him forward, he's just an aerial threat at either end of the ground. So I think it'll provide some good support to Jake Waterman. They need another target forward to take some attention away from him.
He was okay in Bunbury. He looks to me as if he's going to take some time, though. Like, let's not expect him to rip a game apart this weekend or anything like that. But it looks like he's a big boy growing into his body that he's going to take a little bit of time to develop, but he looked promising.
Yeah, I like the presence that he played with too. When we came up against him from a Subi perspective in sort of mid to late last year, he's just got some genuine size and presence about him on the ground. So hopefully he's one that can come on and take West Coast forward.
What about Subi this year? Can we ask you about Subi this year?
Yeah, we're ticking along okay at the moment. We've got a very young group, but you get the likes of Steph Giro back, who came off a knee reco last year, a healthy Taj Schofield, which is really important for us, and then there's a young fella to keep an eye on, Archer May, 198 centimetre, absolute beast.
Is he related to Dermot Brereton?
Yeah, Derm's stepson.
Gee.
Yeah, he's a stepson of Derm. He played Richmond VFL last year, and he's just a ripping kid. And
it won't be hard at it because his stepdad might give him a hiding if he's not.
He's just a fantastic person, and he's your prototype athlete for AFL footy.
No one can pick one out of obscurity better than Mick Ablett.
Exactly right.
Keep an eye on.
Exactly. Lucas Kenterfield.
Yeah.
He's crook, isn't he? He's unwell.
Yeah, no, he's struggling a little bit at the moment. I hope he gets himself right because, like I said at the time, he is like your old school tall forward that plays with genuine presence. He's competitive. He's tough.
Start home. No forward pressure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He just smacks them. If they drop back in front of the hole, they know about it.
Before we let you go, Toolkit Depot's auto sale drives big savings across their auto range. Shop in store online at Toolkit Depot. Little birdie told me that there are 2 brothers in the AFL having a hardcore stoush at the moment that it actually might drive a wedge between them.
Oh, really?
Brad and Chris Scott. Now, I'm led to believe, again, I'm just saying this while we've got this little window of opportunity, that Essendon are all over Harley Reid like a cheap suit.
What do you mean? Because everyone's going to be all over him. But
they are the ones, because Craig Vozzo just sort of knows how West Coast work a little bit, so he'd probably be thinking about their picks and stuff. So he's a good man. Yep. He's their CEO. So Brad Scott, all over Harley, mate, all over Harley. I reckon.
Isn't you talking personal contact?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And Chris Scott has come from the clouds, and Geelong are the new favourites for Harley Reid services should he decide not to take up the 5-year deal at West Coast. I'm telling you now, Chris Scott could usurp Brad Scott, and it could drive a wedge between the Scott family. Guess who's at fault? Harley bloody Reid.
Boy, oh boy, wow,
7:22, Friday, the 14th of March. Let's mark that down. So, if I was to say to you, Harley Reid's leaving, where's he going to go?
Geelong.
I'm a little bit with Goss here. My mail is strong and has been for a while that he will not sign another contract in WA.
What?
So he'll either
Sounds surprised you're breaking the
having
news.
said that, if your mail's right, Goss, watch this space because after what Geelong did to West Coast for Tim Kelly,
Oh, what goes around comes around, Michael.
Just wait.
Can we have 6 first-round draft picks, please?
Get your popcorn out and sit back and watch this one unfold.
That'd be fun.
Anyway, hey, I would love him to stay. I'd love him to flip everything on its head and stick around and wait for Chad Warner. Imagine that domination for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
It would be huge. But
You've just declared he's going to Geelong.
if he decides not to take the 5-year deal at West Coast on the table or a revamped 5-year deal at West Coast, then Geelong have taken the lead for Harley Reid.
If this is the case, just get your speech ready for another back-to-back news-breaking award in the WA Football Media Guild.
And does anyone do it better than Geelong at getting big-name free agents?
Have a look at them.
They're the best.
Have a look at them.
And just finding players.
Exactly.
Finding talent.
Yeah, brought to you by Morris Finance and all those other people. Hey, thanks for dropping in. Really appreciate it.
Good to see you, boys.
Your knowledge is second to none. Mickey Ablett, AFL talent
Really is.
expert. So thanks to Toolkit Depot's Auto Sale. Mickey Ablett, we drill down.